They want to cut stuff like unemployment insurance and COBRA, healthcare subsidies, stuff like vital nutrition assistance programs and infrastructure investments in the Recovery Act. The spending Republicans want to cut is spending that is putting people back to work and keeping money in the pockets of struggling Americans who can't find jobs but still need to pay bills and put food on the table. These aren't government handouts. These are investments in our future and the most effective ways to get our economy going again. And if Republicans are able to cut them, it will drive us back into a recession and, by the way, increase the deficit. In short, Republicans want to go back to the dark days of the Bush administration. But this time it might not be so easy for us to regroup. Because even as Republicans plan to punch loopholes in our regulations and shred the social safety net, their corporate backers have an even more dangerous agenda of their own. Last month, I spoke to the American Constitution Society. I talked about the Roberts Court's pattern of protecting the rights of corporations above those of working Americans. The goal of these corporate interests, I argued, is an America in which no individual rights are so basic and so important that they should be protected above a corporation's right to profit. Now look, corporations aren't inherently evil. Corporations create jobs. Corporations made the suit I'm wearing, the chairs that you're sitting in, the beverages that you will no doubt be enjoying later tonight at some of Las Vegas's fine establishments, which, by the way, are owned and operated by corporations. There are some great corporations in Minnesota, corporations like 3M and Medtronic and General Mills that create a lot of jobs and do a lot of good work in the community, and also Cheerios are great for lowering your cholesterol. But while corporations aren't inherently evil, the big ones are inherently powerful. They have more money than you do. They know more about you than you know about them. They have lawyers and public relation experts and tax wizards, and you bet they got lobbyists. So it's pretty easy for them to be evil if they want to, or simply feel like they have to in order to compete, unless the rights of working Americans are protected. And those rights are disappearing 1-5-4 Supreme Court decision at a time. This is about your right to earn a living, your right not to get fired because of who you are, your right to drink clean water, your right to privacy, your right to keep the pension you earn, your right to a jury trial. And it's about your right to be heard. It used to be that really only the government could threaten your First Amendment rights. Now corporations with government permission pose the greatest threat to your First Amendment rights. And tonight I want to tell you that I believe that net neutrality is the First Amendment issue of our time. You know, it is literally malfeasance for a corporation not to do everything it legally can to maximize its profits. That's a corporation's duty to its shareholders. Telecom executives understand that they can profit from providing preferred access to the Internet for companies that can afford it. The CEO of Verizon said, "We need to make sure there is the right economic model. We need to pay for the pipe." And as the chief technology officer for Bell South pointed out, I can buy a coach standby ticket or a first-class ticket. I can get 2-day air or 6-day ground. Airlines and shipping companies profit from this system. Why wouldn't his company profit from selling premium access to corporate interests? Meanwhile, Comcast and NBC Universal intend to merge. Why? Because concentration of power is profitable. But when the same company owns both the pipes and the program running through the pipes, we could be headed for big trouble. Now, testifying before the Senate Judiciary Committee, executives at both Comcast and NBC promised that that's not what they're interested in. But as the only member of the Judiciary Committee who used to be in show business, I know better. Back in the early 1990s, the rules that prevented networks from owning more than a very small portion of the programs that they aired, these were called the FinCEN rules. FinCEN for financial syndication. Back in the early 90s, the FinCEN rules were allowed to expire. Now, I watched the FinCEN hearings, and I watched network executives swear up and down that rescinding FinCEN wouldn't lead the networks to start favoring their own programming. Why would we do that? They said. We're in the ratings business. We're gonna just air the best programs. But owning your own programming is profitable. And so, now that they could, they did. By 1992, NBC was the largest supplier of its own primetime programming. And now that networks could make their own shows, it only made sense for the biggest studios to buy the networks so they could supply the programming. So Disney bought ABC. Viacom, the parent company of Paramount, bought CBS. NBC merged with Universal. This consolidation meant that the same company could own the means of distributing programming and produce the programming. So, if Comcast merges with NBC, how long do you think it will take for Verizon and AT&T to start looking at CBS Viacom and ABC Disney? And if Citizens United is allowed to stand, how long do you think it will take for these monoliths to buy enough elections so that they effectively have veto power over anything Congress tries to do to regulate them? If no one stops them, how long do you think it will take before 4 or 5 mega corporations effectively control the flow of information in America, not only on television but online? If we don't protect net neutrality now, how long do you think it will take before Comcast, NBC, Universal, or Verizon, CBS Viacom, or AT&T, ABC, DirecTV, or BP, Halliburton, Walmart, Fox, Domino's Pizza to start favoring its content over everyone else's? How long do you think it will take before the Fox News website loads 5 times faster than Daily Kos? If the internet, the tool that allowed this community to come together and become a potent political force, is under the control of corporate elites, then the Netroots can't exist. The progressive movement can't exist. Democracy as we know it can't exist. And it's not just about politics. After all, the internet is more than just the foundation of the community we progressives have built. It's an incredible source of innovation, a hotbed of creativity, and an unbelievable producer of jobs and wealth. Its value comes from the fact that it's open to everyone. YouTube began in a little office above a pizzeria in San Mateo. It was a good idea. Today it's worth billions of dollars.